It's 2021 and Proton has facelifted the Iriz and Persona again. Proton's B-segment hatchback and sedan have been around for quite a number of years now, but the 2021 facelift seems to bring about the most comprehensive list of updates to date. So let's have a look at what's new, starting with the variants. Now, the product lineup for each model has been streamlined to just 3 variants per car. So with the Iriz, you have the 1.3 litre standard, the 1.6 litre executive, and the brand new variant, the standout one that you see in the videos here, the 1.6 litre active. As for the Persona, it's more or less the same as before. You have the 1.6 litre standard, 1.6 litre executive, and at the top of the range, the 1.6 litre premium. Now, if you've noticed the spec breakdown, well, according to variant, all of the variants, all 6 variants across both models are CVT. So, no more manual for the standard variants for both the Iriz and Persona, and crucially, no 4-speed auto that was rumored. So, whatever that was applied to the Saga, well, we're not seeing it here. The CVT soldiers on whether you like it or not. So likewise, the engine remains unchanged. We're still looking at Proton's VVT engine. And the one in the Iriz, well, we get 2 choices, starting with the 1.3 litre engine, which makes about 95 PS and 120 Newton meters of torque. All other 5 variants are powered by the same 1.6 litre engine with 109 PS and 150 Newton meters of torque, which is quite a good amount of twist considering that the turbocharged Nissan Almera, although it's just 1 litre and 3 cylinders, despite using forced induction, it only makes 152 Newton meters, so it's just 2 Newton meters short of that. Now that we've covered the variants on offer, let's look into what's actually new. Right off the bat, from the pictures, you can see that immediately the front bumpers are completely redesigned with really nicely placed LED BRLs, and of course you have the new grille featuring the arterial bowl that's similar to what you get in the X50 and X70. Now of course you're going to get Proton's new circular logo in the new grille, and for the first time with Iriz and Persona you get 16-inch wheels from the factory. But of course not for the standard, the standard continues with 15-inch wheels. If you go for the very top of the range, you get the new LED headlights which look really good. And of course, in the case of the Iriz Active, you get the very aggressive crossover-ish styling that's, well, the thing that everybody's been talking about in the months leading up to the launch. I mean, of course, it's an acquired taste, but you can still get the Iriz without all of the extra cladding on the side by opting for the executive model. Now there is also a bunch of colors, new colors to the Iriz and Persona that have been taken from the palettes of Proton's SUVs. So you have Space Grey that's offered on the Persona Premium, and you have Passion Red for the Iriz Active, and also Citric Orange for the Iriz Executive and Active. Now Proton's designers have been equally busy inside the car. So right off the bat, you get into the car, you'll see that the steering wheel has been slightly redesigned, the center console substantially redesigned with we now have an 8-inch floating cluster right at the top with GKUI, so it's a touchscreen and you can also control it with voice command. You can even use voice commands to roll down the driver's side window, for example, or even control the aircon. And speaking of the aircon, we now have a new digital control panel for it. We also now have 6 USB ports, including one very useful one tucked just behind the rear view mirror that's, well, you can just plug in the dash cam very cleanly at the back without running any unsightly wires. We have a new Econ mode for both cars. If you stick with the Iriz Active, you get really, again, very aggressive red highlights, very sporty, and also a bunch of sports pedals to match. And for the Persona Premium, you get a brown leatherette upholstery that is similar to what you get in the X70 Premium. So yeah, it's just Proton's attempt to try and make it a little bit more luxurious. Now in terms of safety, the The offerings here, well, it's not quite as comprehensive as what you get in the X50, so no auto braking or lane change assist, things like that. But you still get up to 6 airbags, traction control and a lot. Enough for both cars to achieve a 5-star ASEAN NCAP safety rating. So, at a glance, obviously Proton has did a pretty good job in making the Iriz and Persona a bit more enticing. But right now we have, of course, the biggest question mark: how much do they cost? Well, the bad news is it's slightly more expensive than before, but not too much. So, starting with the Iriz, the standard starts from 40,300 ringgit. The executive model goes for 47,100 ringgit, while the Iriz Active tops out at 54,000 ringgit. Now, all of these prices include the SST exemptions that run until the end of the year, and although there's a slight premium from before, the Iriz prices, well, they are still well within the range of its greatest competitor, the Proton Iriz, so they're still very closely matched despite the slight bump in prices. As for the Persona, the standard model starts at 45,200 ringgit, the executive goes for 50,100 ringgit, and the premium goes for 54,900 ringgit. So there you have it, a very quick overview of the 2021 Proton Iriz and Persona facelifts. Do let us know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.